So recently I posted a video where I was talking about a upper belt conundrum. I answered the question, gave a couple points that I thought would be useful, but I started talking about this idea of consistency, and then I didn't finish with it because, again, I try to keep these videos, again, I'm kind of long-winded as it is, but I try to keep the videos down under 10 minutes so it's not too long, so it can, and really sort of give them some idea to chew on, just a nibble instead of too much. And so that said, I wanted to talk about this idea of consistency with your training because one of the questions I do get fairly often is about whether or not I should move gyms, change gyms. Should I train at multiple gyms or should I have a home gym that I stick with the most? Should I be consistent with this gym? That kind of idea. And so I thought it was it would be a useful idea to talk about for some of you guys. So one of the things whenever this question comes up when I talk to someone about is I tell them this interesting fact that when I go to competitions or when I go to other gyms with other black belts and stuff like that, not always, but in a lot of cases, I have a tougher time rolling with some of my brown and purple belts. And it's not that my brown and purple belts are actually better than these black belts. I think if you took these black belts from these competitions or at these gyms and then you planted them down and plopped them down in my gym and then made them roll with my purple belt or my brown belt, I think that they would probably get the better of my purple belt or brown belt. But nonetheless, I will go to the training or to the gym sometimes and I will have a hell of a time with my purple belt or brown belts or some of my younger black belts. And then I go sometimes to competitions and I'll just breeze through things. So why is that? Well, when I roll with my purple belts, my brown belts, some of the lesser experienced people, and again, when I use the term belts, let's just say the people that I have some experience on or that I'm technically better than. When I roll with them, they've been rolling with me for a while and they pick up on what I'm doing. And so they end up stopping my technique. So if I get something working, they end up countering it and beating it. And then we play this dance. We go back and forth, back and forth. A great example of this is one of the guys that's training with us. He's a black belt named Mark. And Mark he's got a great guard, super tough guard. And I love trying to figure out how to pass that damn thing. Like it's like when I'm like getting ready to when he's on the mats, I'm like, all right, let's go over here. And I love being in the middle of that roll with him and all right, let's see if we can crack this nut today, and see if I can figure this thing out. And a lot of times what happens with our rolls is that I will end up figuring out a way to pass his guard and shut him down, and I pass. All right, got this one. I finally figured it out. And that bastard, the next day or 2 days later, or a week later, whatever, he'll come in and all of a sudden, he stops what I was doing. I'm like, oh, now I got to do something else. And then he'll figure out something to catch me in. And then we do this back and forth thing. But the beautiful part is that makes my guard passing way better because then when I go past other people's guards, they don't even stop the first option, because what ends up happening is when you have consistent training partners like this, they get to know your game and they stop things that were working and force you to branch out. What ends up happening is it's almost like knowing the map, right? Like if all of a sudden you come to a road closure, but you have a map in front of you, you can say, well, I'm going to go this direction now because this road's open. Or if this road's not, we can go this direction. And when you train jiu-jitsu, when you develop a game, we can say a system, we can say a style. It takes on sort of this if this then that approach. So if I go for this move and they do this, then I will do this. And if they do this, then I do this. And you can see how that works, this little chain, right? You can think about many things where maybe I go for a triangle, they defend this. So I go for an armbar, they defend this. I change it to an omoplata. You can just chain these things together. Well, when you train with consistent training partners, they force you to do that. They force you to branch out because you don't have a choice. What was working before is not working anymore. They know it's coming. And so now you either have to change the grips and disguise it. You've got to all of a sudden set up other techniques to mix it in. There's all kinds of cool things you got to do. But again, that comes from the consistency. And so my encouragement to you is if this question is on your mind, where should I train? How many gyms should I train at? Multiple gyms, whatever. I think it's a wise idea. It's a smart idea to have a home gym first. And then if you want to go to an open mat, if you want to go train somewhere else, sometimes that's fine. But having that home gym will give you that valuable training that only consistency can bring, where people get to know you. Also, too, when you are consistent at a gym, people come to know you. They become to like you. The coach gets to know you. They become more invested in you because you're more invested into the program. And so it's just this sort of process. And so again, it's a good idea, I think, consistently to train at one gym, but there's nothing wrong with going doing open gyms and other things like that. But I think it's a wise idea to have consistent training partners that you can count on, that can push you, that are at least comparable skill, even if it's a little less, so they can help sort of fuel this process that I was talking about. So anyway, that is the idea. I just wanted to share it with you. Just an idea to chew on from my bearded opinion. And I'll talk to you guys next time.